and gentlemen, the Miami Dolphins did it. They won a football game in prime time. They shocked the entire world. I said it last week. The season is back on. Welcome back to the best NFL show on the internet. You know me. I'm your host. We got Matt back this week alongside our resident reporter, Alpha Dog Bets. If you haven't yet, head on over to Oddspedia.com. Sign up for a monthly NFL capper competition. Remember, over $1,000 in prizes. Simply just make your picks each week, man. That's it. Go and get your money. Fellas, let's get into some headlines, man. The Chiefs in Week 10, they cannot keep getting away with it in their voodoo magic. What is going on with the Chiefs? Alpha, I'll throw it over to you, brother.
Craziness. I mean, I was happy with that game. I had a mini heart attack as they were running the game back as I was on the Broncos spread. So when they blocked it, I was like, please do not return this and cost the spread on a game-winning field goal opportunity. But the Chiefs keep getting it done, and it was not by fluke that they got this block. When you watch the highlight over and over, this is something they practice frequently, and this is what Kansas City does. They win the special teams game, they win the defensive battle, and they win football games. It's a totally different Chiefs team than we've seen in years past. It's very interesting to see where this team has gone from where they were and turned into a defensive team only when they were such an offensive powerhouse.
They've got to have a deal with the devil, right? We've got Taylor Swift doing some sort of blood ritual up there. Sorry for the
magic, yeah.
Like something is going on, Matt. What's happening with these Chiefs? They just can't lose.
Well, you know, you hear it a lot about. You hear it's definitely become a cliche in this century. You know, learning how to win. The Chiefs know how to win, and they just find a freaking way every damn time. I mean, the couple of Super Bowls. I think they've trailed in every Super Bowl that they've won in the second half. Yeah, and of course, they trailed a bunch in the second half this year. And, you know, you can say, oh, Mahomes is the greatest quarterback. Mahomes is good. He's great. He's amazing. But he's not the one necessarily doing this. The defense comes through. Now you got special teams come through. This ain't going to last. We'll talk more about this game coming up later in this broadcast. But you just got to be impressed. And you know what? I've said it before in this show, and I'll say it again. Andy Reid doesn't get enough credit. He just doesn't. I mean, he is a Hall of Fame coach. He's every bit as good as any other coach that's ever come through in our generation. He just hasn't talked about it very much just because he's just big fat Andy Reid. But he's good. He's damn good.
Yeah. That run defense too, man. I mean, this team,
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I said it, man. It was a team built around Mahomes and that offense for so long, and now they're getting it done defensively. It's like
they haven't given up more than 58 rushing yards to a running back. They gave 100 plus to Lamar, and then Derrick Henry had 46, and then Jordan Mason a couple weeks ago, he had 3 rushing yards in the first half. He broke like a 26-yarder, ended up with 56. He's got the high against that defense. It's incredible.
That team is just absolutely disgusting, working it at all 3 facets of the game. Another team working at all facets of the game. I want to talk about Goff, man. This is a testament to how good this Detroit Lions team is. If your quarterback can throw 5 picks and still win a football game, what the hell did we just watch, Alpha?
I mean, it was incredible. It truly was. This Detroit team is built for the long run. You can tell when they have an off game, they're still involved in games and they can still win football games. So it was definitely very impressive. Even though Goff threw all those interceptions, they still were able to hold on and win the ball game. That was the biggest thing I took away from that, was even when they're not fully on, when they have an off game, they could still battle and find a way to win football games.
Yeah, and I tweeted this out too. I'm an idiot. I woke up and literally sat Stafford, even though both of them were terrible. I sat Stafford, put Goff in as a starting quarterback, and every single time he dropped back to pass, it was just like, please, not again. And it just kept happening. I thought he was going to end with like negative 10 points. It was a tough game to watch. Matt, what's your take on Goff?
Yeah, it's I'm going to jump the gun a little bit. I'm going to give you 2 bozos of the week. My first bozo of the week is the entire active roster of the Houston Texans and their coaching staff. How do you fucking lose a game when a guy throws 5 picks? I don't care the couple of them were tipped. I missed the first half. I was traveling. I watched most of the second half on the plane. So I didn't see, I guess he threw 3 in the first and 2 early in the second. I didn't even see any of them. But when I heard that, I'm like, Tirico must misspoke. There's no way. How do you not win that game? And they were winning the whole game until the end. Just a terrible coaching job by DeMeco Ryans. He got out coached big time. Stroud got outplayed really by Goff in the end. I mean, Goff came through when you needed to most. And this is a Detroit team that's just like the Chiefs. It's so crazy to say, guys. The Lions are legit.
Yep.
If they don't go to the Super Bowl this year, they're never going to go. I mean, this team is built to win now. Yep. And then they go out and get Darius Smith. Is that right?
Yep.
You know, they fortify that defensive line after losing Hutchinson. I mean, it's just another example of the Lions refusing to lose. And and the Texans still not being what everyone thought they were, except me, before the season started.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week. I mean, Dan Campbell has that team firing, man. It's a different culture in Detroit. I mean, not so long ago, they were just hoping for a 500 season or maybe even a couple wins in a season, and now they're Super Bowl aspirations, man.
Real quick, they are since week 11 of the 2022 season. I believe I have them at 31-9 straight up and against the spread.
Yeah.
Something like that.
They've been against the spread just absolute darlings. They've made bettors a lot of money. You could just throw your money on the Lions and you'll take it. David Honig coming in. Lions are built to win. They absolutely are. They are a ton of fun to watch. I cannot believe the product that we're seeing from them. But like I said, a lot of that revolves around Dan Campbell. Matt, you said it, man. We're moving on to the Bozo of the week, and I know you want to talk about how terrible the NFL product is nowadays, but my Bozo of the week, let's talk about the Colts, man. What are they doing with Anthony Richardson? You start him, you sit him, you start him again. It's like that if you guys watch The Office, it's Michael Scott going snip, snap, snip, snap. Like what are you guys doing? What are we doing with Anthony Richardson? How if you're gonna sit him, you got to sit him for the rest of the season. But then also you're watching Joe Flacco, who's 55 years old, play absolutely terrible. He's back in the pocket like he's got bricks in his feet. It's tough to watch. But what's your take on this Anthony Richardson thing, Alpha?
I mean, I think what they're trying to do is a little bit of what the Panthers did. I mean, we all saw Bryce Young got benched. He came back and was able to have a big performance. Looks like he solidified himself to be the quarterback of the future there, at least for the rest of this year. So, I mean, it can't get much worse than what Flacco did last week. There's just no other way about it. He was awful. He put them in a position where they could not win the game. So I think if it's either going to Flacco or potentially still trying to see what you have in Anthony Richardson, I think you do have to go to Anthony Richardson and see what he has. You drafted him with a high draft pick. He's only played like 13 games of football. Let the guy get some work in, develop him like you're supposed to develop a quarterback, and see what you have in him. But quickly, I do want to go to the comments. I did see that David is here. David, we appreciate you tuning in, buddy. I see you all the time, and I could not agree with you more. You put all those points perfectly about the Lions.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Anthony Richardson's supposed to be their franchise quarterback, right? Let's either instill some confidence in him or tell him you're going to take a seat and watch Joe Flacco for the rest of the year, because they could still make the playoffs. The Colts season isn't done. So I'm excited to actually see what Anthony Richardson can do. Matt, who's your Bozo of the week?
He's speaking to you right now. It's me. You assigned me the Thursday Night Football props article last week to accommodate my travel schedule, and I delivered a doozy. Jamar Chase under 83.5 receiving. Bozo.
Bozo of the week goes to Matt.
Yeah, big time.
We love it. We love it. Alpha, Bozo of the week, brother.
𝐬𝐭∞ What are you doing, brother? 1 of 4 from field goals, losing the game from 3. By the way, he went to the high school about 3 minutes from where I went to high school. So come on, brother. You're supposed to rep our area in a big way, and you absolutely let everyone down. The one thing I will say about this game is that the New York Giants benefited from the Saints winning and moving to 3-7 because it only helps the New York Giants draft pick. So I was rooting for the Saints for those reasons, but watching that game, seeing 𝐬𝐭∞, who's been such a good kicker over the last 5 to maybe 8 years of being in the league, he's been almost automatic. To be that bad, hitting 25%, was absolutely wild to see. And one more point I want to make as well. We're seeing a changing of the guards in the kicking world, because Justin Tucker is not automatic either. So the guys that I would probably say the last couple of years that if you needed a field goal last second on the game, down by a point or two, who you want to take the kick, you would say 𝐬𝐭∞ or probably Justin Tucker. Well, Justin Tucker and then 𝐬𝐭∞. But this year, it's Braden Aubrey. So there is a little change of the guard in the kicker. So I did want to put that out there. But my Bozo of the week has to go to 𝐬𝐭∞.
Come some slack, Alpha. That weather was pretty bad last. They had to deal with inside that dome.
Yeah, absolutely. You never could handle the winds of the dome.
Hey, Alpha, do you want to talk about quickly the Giants Panthers games? I was surprised you didn't say anything about that.
Tyrone Tracy is a hero. He fumbled the ball in overtime and got us to lose. So very happy about that. Don't get me going on this Giants team, because what's his name? Joe Shane, the GM, had a ridiculously bad press conference where he went and said the Giants are a quarterback away from being a contender. He can shut the F up because this roster is horrendous. It's horrendous.
It's just bad football to watch. And shout out David. He has the Jets and the quarterback as their bozo of the week.
Yeah, he must listen to me a lot. David must listen to me.
If anybody hates the Jets more, it's Matt. So he
and me.
And I mean, you can't really go wrong hating on the Jets right now. They are just a team with no identity. But we could talk about that all day. Let's not, because it's awful to talk about, and that's bad football. Let's head on into some good football, fellas. What the show is here for. Thursday night football, and we've got a damn good game tonight. The NFL schedulers are cooking over the last few weeks. We've got the Commanders at the Eagles tonight. 60% are on the Eagles at -3.5. 76% of bets are on the over at 48.5. Matt, where are you headed tonight?
Yeah, I'm with that 76%. I'm on the over in this game. This is a difficult game to handicap. It really was. Funny thing is, if this game is a season opener, what are the Eagles laying? 8.5?
More, probably 10.
Yeah. So there's one interesting thing about this game. Put my glasses on so I can read. You look at the stats. They're pretty equal. Washington's 4th in scoring offense, Philly's 7th. Washington's 12th in scoring defense, Philly's 6th. Total offense, 4th and 6th. Then total defense, 14th and 2nd. Then you get to rushing defense. Rushing offense. Washington's 4th, 153 yards per game, 4.9 yards per carry. Philly's 2nd, 176 and 4.9 per carry. Here's where the rubber meets the road. Washington's 28th in rush defense, giving 142 yards per game. Philly's 5th, giving up 100 yards per game. Yeah. I almost went with Philly in this game. They haven't covered a spread at home in 6 games, so I couldn't do it. I just think that this Washington team isn't going to stop Philadelphia the way they're humming right now. You look at the last 4 weeks, Philly's put 28 on the Giants, 37 on the Bengals, 28 on Jacksonville, 34 on Dallas. Washington's road games this year, the total points scored 57 against the Bucs, 71 when they played in Cincy, 56 in Arizona, 53 in Baltimore, 49 against the Giants in New York, or New Jersey. So yeah, I just think this is going to be a shootout. I saw yesterday there was a little bit of a weather concern. I haven't looked at it today. But I think this is a shootout. If you put a gun to my head, I'd probably lay the points with the Eagles. I don't like that point though. The Eagles have played they've been awful at home. I mean, they lost to Atlanta, barely beat Cleveland, barely beat Jacksonville. 0-3 against the spread this year. And like I said, 0-6 going back to last year. So give me the over in this game. It's not my favorite play, but I'm on it.
Yeah, right now I think it's only a 1% chance of rain. So I think you're good from the weather standpoint. Okay. Alpha, who you liking tonight?
I'm on the Commanders. The line has moved a little bit. I know when I gave my official pick, it was a +3.5. It's up to a +4 right now, pretty universally. So I'm going to be taking the Commanders plus the 4. I'm not sold on this Eagles team. Let's take a look at how they've done and the teams they've played in recent weeks. They beat the Cowboys. Congratulations. They beat the Jaguars. Congratulations. They beat the Bengals. Congratulations. They beat the Giants. Congratulations. And they beat the Browns. Who in that list is any good? I mean, you can argue Cincinnati, but at the end of the day, they're still a 4-6 football team. Washington is the best cover team in the NFL. They're covering at 78% of their games this year, 7-2-1. So to me, they're going to continue to get that done. They'll keep this one close, and I think whoever wins this game will win it by a field goal. I'm not sure which direction wins, but I do think it's going to come down to a last-second field goal. This is an NFC East battle. This is a pretty big game, because this could be the changing of the guard. The Commanders have not been the best team in the NFC since RG3 days, and maybe that was only for a year. So they look to me like they are the best team in the NFC. They have the best prospects. They have the best quarterback in the division, and I think we may tonight see the changing of the guard. And the Commanders take over first place and sole possession of first place in the NFC East. I love the Commanders plus the 4.
Yeah, very well put. Very well put. And I'm with you, man. I love this Commanders team. You said it, dude. The Eagles are on a 5-game win streak, but yeah, you said it, man. Cowboys, Jags, Bengals, Giants, Browns. Congratulations, right? Who have the Eagles beaten? The Commanders are currently a top 3 team in point differential. They rank well ahead of Philly in expected record and expected points per attempt. They're a better team than the Eagles in offensive and defensive EPA as well. I mean, if you're giving me 4 points in this game tonight, it's going to be a tight one. It's going to be a field goal game. If anything, like I said last week, I love taking points on teams that I think could win outright. So I'm going to take the +4 here on Washington. And I'm going to watch Jaden Daniels go to work tonight. I absolutely
can I offer a contrarian to your who the hell have the Eagles beat, which is absolutely true.
Oh, no, I
know what you're going to say, and it's true. Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
The collective record of the 7 opponents that Washington's beat is 21-37. They beat one winning team, which is Arizona. They destroyed them. It's a good win. beat the Giants twice, beat the Bears, beat Carolina, beat Cleveland, beat Cincinnati. So we've got two teams that we really don't really know if they're really that
Exactly.
great.
So tonight's going to be a nice
Absolutely right.
measuring stick.
But they did hang with Baltimore in Baltimore. I mean, they gave Baltimore a game. So that's
exactly. And they gave the Steelers a game last week, and the Steelers
Oh,
are damn good.
First of all, the Commanders completed a first down. They completed a first down where the officials reviewed it and put the ball a yard and a half before. He was so clearly past the sticks. It was unbelievable they ended the game like that. If they would have called that a first down, Washington was in field goal range. They would have won that game if the refs did their job. How do you review it and put it a full yard and a half back? I get if it's close. I get if you're like a quarter of a yard close. It was a yard and a half. It wasn't even remotely close to where he actually went down.
And then they're going to tell you about the yellow line being an unofficial line, right? So
yeah. Speaking of Bozos, the defensive lineman for the Bears jumped off.
Oh my God! Yeah,
unbelievable.
There was some bad football. There was some bad.
Unbelievable. How do you jump in that spot? It was so obvious they weren't going to hike it, but it was a rookie. It was Johnny Newton, who has been unbelievable for that team. So as long as he can perform tonight, I'll forgive him. Get us that Commanders win.
Yeah, let's have a night, man. I absolutely love that matchup tonight. It's a massive measuring stick game for both teams. And another massive measuring stick for both teams is on Sunday Night Football. We've got the Bengals at the Chargers, man. 74% are on the over at 46.5. 84% are on the Bengals at +1.5. Can the Chargers take that big step forward this week? Matt, who do you have?
Yeah, this game is scary. So this is probably my favorite play of the week. It's weird because I was Mr. Banging the Bengals drum all the way through early October. They're a good Super Bowl bet. And I'm a recovering Chargers fan. I know how this team goes. Once they get your hopes up, they're going to suck and they're going to lay an egg. But I like the Chargers and I like them on the money line in this game.
Yeah.
The Chargers defense, guys, has been insane, and they're the number one scoring defense, 13.1 points per game. That's 3.1 points per game less than the number 2 team, which is Pittsburgh. They've held every opponent to 17 points or less, but Pittsburgh. They gave up 20 in a game. Herbert played on one leg, and they lost. But then again, we get back to the Commanders and Eagles discussion. Here are the QBs the Chargers defense have faced: Gardner Minshew, Bryce Young, Justin Fields. Mahomes gave up 17 points but lost the game. Bo Nix, Kyler Murray gave up 17 points, lost the game. Spencer Rattler, Jameis Winston, Will Levis. Okay, so now they got Joe Burrow. Well, Joe Burrow has been amazing against the Ravens and a couple other teams, but he didn't do anything against the Giants. They won the game, but he didn't do much in that contest. So this is a situation where I just think the Chargers are the right side. Cincinnati's defense is a wreck. They've given up 35 to Baltimore, 24 to the Raiders, 37 to Philly in the last 3 weeks. They've only held the Giants, the Patriots look to low total points, and they did hold the Cleveland also. But this is a situation where Chargers offense playing well. They didn't score more than 24 points in their first several games. They've got 26. They scored 26, 27, and 27 in the last 3 weeks. So I like the Chargers the way they're rolling out. Herbert's playing great, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions the last 2 weeks. He should shred this defense. And turnover differential, Chargers +9, Cincy's net 0. So everything points to the Chargers. Probably means they'll lose by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, I'm before I head over to you, Alpha, because I know you have a little different play. I'm with you on the Chargers, man. They've only allowed 11 points per game in the last 3 weeks. They've averaged 26 on the offensive end in that stretch. And you said it, man. Justin Herbert, he's posted the 3 best passer ratings of the season over that stretch as well. He's completed over 70% of his passes, 5 TDs, no picks. I mean, it'll be easy to keep that offensive success up against the Bengals. We've talked about how terrible the Bengals defense is on this show for weeks now, man. They've allowed 26.2 points per game. Chargers are 4-1 against the spread this season against bottom 10 defenses. Shocker. But give me that vaunted defense on Sunday night. I'm going to go against the public here, and I'm hitting the Chargers on the money line. Alpha, you're going somewhere else.
I am, and I'm not taking the Bengals, so don't worry. We could all still win on this game. I'm on the under here, fellas. I think we're going to see a pretty big defensive grind. One thing I'd like to talk about, did you guys see Jim Harbaugh hyping up Justin Herbert this week? That was unbelievable. If you haven't seen those videos and you're an NFL fan and you want to understand what makes a good coach and understand why players love their coaches and play well for certain guys, go watch how Jim Harbaugh hypes up Justin Herbert. After his touchdown, Jim Harbaugh went to the referee and said, "Did you see that beast run it in there?" just nothing but complimentary stuff about him. You love to see a coach believe in his team like that. But I think this one's going to be a very good, solid defensive grind. I don't think either of these teams are going to be taking the ball all over the top of the defense. I think the Chargers have a pretty clear game script. They need to keep the ball on the ground. They have to limit possessions for the Bengals, which they do a very good job of. And Jim Harbaugh is a defensive guy. They will be bringing the blitz. They will be trying everything they can to contain this Bengals offense. So 47.5 is just too many points that I see in this game. I think this one ends in either the high 30s to low 40s, and we should cash it pretty comfortably. So give me the under. Definitely one of my favorite plays of the week.
Yeah, I love it, man. Harbaugh has elevated this team to an entire new level this year, man. He's got the best defense in the league. He's got, like you said, man, pure respect and love for his quarterback. He's got the Chargers absolutely humming right now. They are a fun team to watch, and they didn't have much. They didn't have huge expectations coming into this season, but they could easily make some noise in the playoffs, man.
They're minus 650 as of earlier this week at DraftKings to make the playoffs, which is insane. So if you believe the Chargers are going to charge her, go bet the no now.
Yeah, I think they make it. Yeah. It's crazy the difference.
Given what else is in the AFC.
Exactly. There's such a lack of talent between the top and the bottom. There's no middle ground right now. It's either you're really good or you suck. That's just where it's at in the league.
That honestly, and Justin Herbert's climbing up the MVP odds board. He's climbing up the comeback player of the year odds board. He's just all over the place. Wow. From one incredible matchup to one that I really do not want to spend too much time on because we've got incredible matchups to get to. Sunday Night Football. I don't know how they didn't flex this one out yet. We've got the Texans at the Cowboys. We've got 66% of bets on the Texans at minus 7.5, 81% of bets on the over at 42. Alpha, I'll throw it back to you. Who you like in here?
So this one's an interesting game, guys. This one, it's not as interesting as we would like. I mean,
yeah.
I want to hear what Matt has first. Matt, what do you have before I give my pick on this game?
Well, before I get to that, I want to tell David your Venmo's on the way, David Honig.
The voice of reason.
Yeah. Well, he's probably going to change that tune, the voice of reason, real quick here when I say I'm taking the Cowboys plus 7.5.
There we go.
I didn't think we get to the point where basically the most public team in any sport on the planet is getting shaded points here. That's how bad the Cowboys have gotten this year. That they are basically the bookmakers are like, please, somebody bet the Cowboys. I'm like, when did that ever think this would happen? 7.5 is just too many points. Houston on the road this year is 2-3 straight up against the spread. They beat the Colts by 2. They lost at Minnesota as a favorite, got destroyed. They beat the crap out of the Patriots in New England, big deal. They lost at Green Bay, although it was a close game. They lost at the Jets on Thursday night. Every one of Stroud's lowest passing totals are on the road, and his highest passing totals are at home. He's a different quarterback away from home. And that soul-crushing loss, that's what I'm calling it that was a soul-crushing loss for a team. And now they're going expected to blow a team that has got a backup quarterback that shouldn't even be playing in the XFL probably. It's just everything points to a blowout because the Cowboys have been getting blown out. It's just a situation where I like Dallas. And they've been blown out 3 times this year only. And the Saints at home, Detroit at home, and Philadelphia last week in kind of a transition game without Dak. They gave the Niners a game, at least at the end, in San Francisco. Falcons a game in Atlanta. They're one of 2 teams to beat Pittsburgh this year, the only team to do so in Pittsburgh. So, yeah, I don't think the Cowboys are winning this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans win by 10 to 14 points, but I'm not laying 7.5 this Texans team on the road. I just don't think enough of them.
Yeah, Alpha.
You're muted.
You're muted, brother.
That's why I wanted to hear what you had to say, because you've been pretty spot on with these 2 teams, and I'm on the under here, so I did want to see if you had anything on that, but I do think this is going to be another defensive game here. I don't think either of these offenses have the firepower to really take the top over the defense, kind of like what I said last time, and I do think this one will stay comfortably under the total. I mean, it's hard to back a 7.5 with the Texans on the road, as Matt said perfectly. It's a lot of points. It's a key number getting over that 7. You don't really want to take a minus 7.5 ever. So if you are into the Texans this week, it may be a teaser spot, maybe a parlay spot, but I definitely don't recommend taking the minus 7.5. But at the same time, does anybody in the world feel comfortable taking Dallas in any capacity right now? I don't either, but I am confident that both these offenses will struggle pretty mightily here. So give me the under 42.5 is what I got it look earlier, but it looks like the line has moved. So I'm going to give the up-to-date line. It's down to 41.5, so it is moving lower. That's exactly what we're playing. So I'll give out the 41.5. I like it still at that 41.5.
Yeah, I absolutely love that under too. Both defenses are humming, but you said it, man. To tease it down a bit, that's exactly what I'm doing. That 7.5 is a key number. I'm going to buy it down to 6.5, a little bit juicier, but not too bad. I mean, let's not waste any time here. The Cowboys are pretty dog shit this year. Apologies for swearing, but this is one of those times where it's needed. The only fun we can kind of glean from this game is the potential of Trey Lance to do something. If he's starting, I'm pretty sure I saw that he was starting. With the Texans hopefully putting up another crooked number. I may be wrong, but Dallas may come out and surprise people. Trey Lance may come out and surprise people. But Collins will be back for Houston, giving Stroud a full complement of receiving options in this one. I'm juicing it down to 6.5. I want to stay under that key number of 7. And I'm still liking the Texans here, man. The Cowboys just give you nothing. Like, what can you watch from that Philly game and be like, I'm going to throw my hard-earned money on the Cowboys this week?
Right?
I don't think you can.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be one of those games where it could be a defensive matchup, and the Texans can either win by 7, or it's going to be by 10, or it's going to be like a crooked number. It's either they're going to win by a touchdown, or they're going to win by 21, and everyone's just Jerry Jones is going to want to off himself or something.
This could be a get-right game. It could be a get-right game for Houston, right? I mean, this is if they can put their foot on the throat of the Cowboys, and most teams have been able to. This is the game that kind of look, we're as good as we thought we were. So I could see them not holding back if they get up. It's just I just don't trust them right now.
Yeah, exactly. David's coming in with the 6-point tease with the Cowboys, Niners, Rams, and Ravens. I do not mind that whatsoever, man. Good call.
Yeah, I like taking teams. So it's a very interesting debate. David, this is a question for you and to anybody else in the audience. If you see a line, so I see here that the Seahawks or the 49ers are -6.5. Would you prefer to parlay them as 2 money line pieces, or would you prefer to use a 6-point teaser and get that leg down to a 0.5? Because when it's at a 6.5 and you're getting that hook, I like to do a money line parlay. You get a little bit of a better payout. I know you're doing a 4-team teaser here, David, so it makes more sense if you're doing it like that. But just more for the board here for you guys as well. When you see 2 teams that you like at, let's say, a 6.5, 7 line, do you ever tease that down, or do you do those as a money line? What's your style when you bet those kind of games?
I like putting them together as a money line, especially if it's a 2 or 3 legger. You're in a 6 at a 6-point or a 7-point. You're going to get back, if you money line them together, you're going to get back some pretty damn good value. I did that a couple weeks ago. I parlayed the Lions. I think they were 6.5 favorites, 7.5 favorites with the Eagles, who were -7 at the time. They both hit, and it was +120, +140, something around those lines.
Yep.
It seemingly works for me, but I don't like to really go deeper than like a 3-legger. So a 4 or 5-legger is a lot. It's something I rarely do, though. Great
point. Let me jump in there too. If I like more than 2 teams, I break it up into separate plays. So I only do a maximum for my parlays of 2 teams. Occasionally I'll throw a third in there, but I rather try and find a second team to go with that other parlay and keep it as 2 separate. That's how I usually like to look at them.
Yeah, and if you want more picks from Alpha, of course, go follow him over on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Alpha Dog Bets. He drops picks for every primetime, every game, whatever you want. Any football game, he's got you. David Honig says moneyline parlay for 2.
Agreed.
Yeah. Let's head on over to the Oddspedia games of the week, because these are the absolute exciting games that we want to get to, man. We've got the Bills. We got the Chiefs. We got 74% are on the over at 46.5 for this game. 79% of bets are on the Chiefs +2.5. Matt, where are we going on this one?
I got a feeling I'm going to regret this, but I just don't understand how you don't take the points with the Steelers in this game. Russell Wilson has been every bit way better than anybody thought he would be. Averaging 245 yards per game in his 3 starts, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's facing the worst pass defense by a freaking mile still. We're talking Baltimore is giving up 295 yards passing per game. Tampa Bay is 31st. They're giving up 264. So more than 30 yards per game more than any other team Baltimore's given up. NFL high 22 passing touchdowns allowed. They're not going to be able. Steelers aren't going to be able to run on Baltimore. Nobody can. They just can't.
Yep.
They have number 1 rushing offense and the dead last passing rushing defense, dead last passing defense. Pittsburgh,
But we're going to Pittsburgh? Or sorry, we're talking about Bills Chiefs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was prepping to go Pittsburgh too, though. I was about to do that game, so I was on board with you, Matt.
I'm sorry.
Keep going, man. We could do Steelers. We could do.
Let's
Steelers
do it.
here.
Let's do this one.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You sure?
Yeah, no, keep on going, baby. We'll talk.
My bad. Way to pay attention, Matt.
I'm down.
Anyway, I'll just close with this. I got a lot of notes in this game. I want to close with this. Since 2020, Pittsburgh 7-1 straight up and 6-2 against the spread against Baltimore. 5-0 straight up against the spread as an underdog. The only exception where the favorite one was the last meeting last in Week 17 when Ravens rest all their starters. Pittsburgh won 17-10 as a 3-point favorite. In 2015, the underdogs 12-5 straight up, 15-2 against the spread. Lamar has only faced the Steelers 4 times, so those numbers may be a little bit deceiving, right? He's only played 4. Lamar won his first game against the Steelers in overtime, 23-20 as a 3.5-point favorite. Since then, he's lost all 3 as a favorite. So he's 0-4 against the spread as a favorite against Mike Tomlin. You got no weather issues in this game. It's supposed to be really nice in Pittsburgh. I like the Steelers, and if I had any nuts, I would say take them on the money line. I don't know.
I think all 3 of us love the Steelers here. And we love once we squad ride, man, it's usually a good call for us. I'll jump on the Steelers here. I mean, how is this also the first AFC North game for Pittsburgh?
I know. It's crazy.
This is one of the harder games to cap on for me, especially. I mean, one hand, you got Lamar going up against one of the best units in the world, but it's Lamar Jackson. On the other hand, you have Russ leading an offense against a mediocre pass defense that could be without Kyle Hamilton. I know they got some good news on his ankle this week, but I don't know if he's 100%.
He's not playing.
He's not playing? He's out?
Not definitely, but if I'm very into these injury reports and study them and go off it. From the Alpha injury report, I don't think he's going.
Yeah. I mean, the ankle injury looked pretty bad last week. And this could very well decide the division, too. We know the divisional battles are almost always tight. I called the Steelers upset over the Commanders last week on the money line, but this week I'll be taking the Steelers at +3. It just makes sense to me. A divisional matchup between these 2 teams, always tight, especially if Hamilton can't go. This could be an utter disaster for a struggling defense. He's so important to that defense. He's taking snaps at linebacker. He's taking snaps at corner, safety, of course, and he's taken snaps at edge rusher as well. He's all over that defense, and without him, there's going to be glaring holes, man. He could be the most versatile DB in football. I love me some Kyle Hamilton. It sucks that he's injured, but that just makes me lean way heavier to the Pittsburgh side. But that's something to monitor. And more than that, man, Russ has defense is scared of the deep ball for the first time ever in Pittsburgh's, it feels like.
In history for Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Other than when Ben Roethlisberger was playing, man. And the Ravens are susceptible to the big play. We see them in the second half just absolutely crumble this year, man. They have the worst defense in football in terms of passing yards given up per game. They're giving up close to 300 yards per game in the air. Steelers, for comparison, that unit's giving up 215. That's pretty large, man. Steelers own the 4th best red zone defense in the NFL. The Ravens come in at 20th. They allow almost 60% of red zone trips to amount in a touchdown. That's huge. The Steelers are rolling. They have a better defensive unit. The gap isn't as large on the offensive side of the ball. I think Pittsburgh's at home too. I'm taking Steelers in the points, man. Give me Steelers +3. Alpha, I'm not sure if I stole your thunder, but man, I know you're going Steelers +3, and it just feels good, man.
One of my favorite plays of the week. I'm all over the Steelers here. And by the way, you're talking about how great Ben Roethlisberger was. You're seeming to forget Cordell Stewart to Antoine Randall L. We had quite the connection back in the day there, too. If Randall L. wasn't slinging the ball himself, former quarterback and went receiver, he could launch it, too. But in this specific game, I'm all over the Steelers. You guys put it perfectly. I think the Steelers' defense will do enough to keep this one close, and I think this is another game that will end by 3 points. It's or less on either direction. I think it's very difficult to go into a place like Pittsburgh and get a win. We've seen that all year long, and I think it's going to be another tough task for Lamar. This is going to be interesting because this might be the first game where he's going to struggle to get outside the numbers and run to the outside. They have TJ Watt out there. Alex Highsmith isn't going to play. I believe he does have that pretty severely, rolled ankle they called it. They're calling it a sprain. It looked like it shattered live. It looked like that ankle was done, but he will be back in a couple weeks. But they did make a couple trades. They bolstered that defense, and I think that this Steelers team will do enough to keep this in 3 points.
Squad ride.
Squad ride.
I got it.
There it is.
Or else it's going to keep going.
Yeah, please stop it.
So Baltimore by 2 touchdowns or 3?
Now that we're all on it, Baltimore by 1 million.
Don't do that, bro.
No, we got to be confident in these picks, man. We all love the Steelers +3. The Steelers are winning on the money line right now.
By 40.
Yeah, Steelers by 40, Steelers by 100, whatever you want to talk about.
Hell yeah.
Fellas, from game picks to props of the week. One of my favorite segments where we roundtable this bad boy, fire off our 3 best prop plays for the Sunday slate. Usually for the Sunday slate. We all kind of screw around and maybe go Monday, maybe go Thursday.
You never know with us. You never know with us.
If you're in chat and you have a prop you love, send it in to us. We'll talk about it. But while we wait, I'll fire off my best prop for Sunday. I love, man. I can't go a show now that the Dolphins won without talking about the Dolphins. I love Jonnu Smith over receiving. I don't think the props are dropping yet, but the Finns offense is finally trending in the right direction, man. And Jonnu has had an integral part as to why. He's second on the team in receiving against the Rams. Smith's going up against the team in the Raiders that flat out cannot or have not defended the tight end. They gave up 100 yards and 2 touchdowns to Mike Gesicki of the Bengals. They gave up 10 catches for 90 yards against Travis Kelce. I'm looking for Jonnu Smith to clear his receiving yards in the third quarter in this one, in what should be a high-scoring game in Miami. I think that offense is back. Matt, your favorite prop of the week?
Yeah, well, I guess we're going to go back and talk about Chiefs Bills after this.
Yes, we will.
I screwed up your order, so let's.
No, you're good. You're good.
Let's give a little tease then on my first prop. It's Patrick Mahomes to stop his 2-game no interception streak and resume it this week and throw a pick. It's a little juicy, -125. I just saw it DraftKings. You can probably find a little bit cheaper if you shop around, but you're probably laying a little bit of juice. Again, as mentioned, last 2 games he was turnover free after throwing at least 1 interception in the first 7 games. The last time Patrick Mahomes went 3 straight regular season games with 0 interceptions in the same season, weeks 15 through 17 of 2021. I'm talking 42 consecutive games since he's not gone three straight without throwing a pick. 4 regular season games against Buffalo. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit, the regular season, postseason thing. 3 regular season games against Buffalo, no interceptions in his first matchup with them, then 2, 2, and 1. 5 interceptions total and 163 pass attempts. 3 postseason games against Buffalo, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 105 attempts. Mahomes is just a different dude in the playoffs. The Bills have got 11 interceptions on the season, 5th most in the NFL. They've got 1 in every game except for week 1 against Kyler Murray, week 4 against Lamar, and then 2 weeks ago against Tua, although they got Tua 3 times in week 2. Sorry, Dustin. So I like Mahomes to throw a pick in this game. Not necessarily going to mean he's going to have a bad game. I just think he's going to get picked.
Yeah. Alpha, favorite prop of the week.
George Pickens, anytime touchdown at +135.
There you go.
Too much, bro. It's too much value on a +135. We just talked about how Russell Wilson now gives the Steelers passing attack an actual deep ball threat. And when you give a jump ball to this guy, George Pickens, about 50% of it, at least, he's coming down with it. This guy's an absolute beast at making these one-on-one catches. He's not great at getting separation, but he does a great job of doing.
Uh-oh, did we lose Alpha?
No, I thought it was me.
No, I thought it was me. Oh, he's back. We're
back.
good. You're back.
Now you're muted.
Now you're muted. We're getting technical.
Hold on.
Hey, now you're back.
He's back.
Hey, this is the first time in 11 weeks that we've had technical difficulties. I'll take it.
Yeah, the overhit.
Yeah, the overhit on 0.5. Alpha, you back?
There it is. I had no audio. Just cut back in. Sorry about that.
No, you're good, buddy.
But we're here. What did I get?
Are you done with your George Pickens? I was gonna say, man, you guys saw that highlight of George Pickens last week, high pointing the ball. I'm like the acrobatics of that touchdown catch, incredible. We've got. I missed the Bills and Chiefs. We'll go back to it just because we are so excited about the Steelers, and George Pickens is a big reason why. But my second prop of the week, I'm going A.J. Brown over receiving. That's tonight. Commanders play cover 1 defense more than anyone else in the league, and Brown feasts on that type of defense. He's 4th in the NFL for first read share, which is another stat I absolutely love in a game that could be could be a very massive high-scoring game. He's coming off a 5-catch, 109-yard performance versus Dallas. He's gone under 84 yards just once this season. I love A.J. Brown for a number that should be in the 80-90 mark. I love A.J. Brown over tonight. I think he's gonna smash that. I think he hits.
There we
go. Matt, your second favorite prop of the week, brother.
Yeah, Alpha's going to like this one. And he's also going to like the fact I was actually, just before we got on, I'm going to write my anytime touchdown props, and George Pickens is one of the 4. So my second prop, though, in this one is Russell Wilson over 1.5 touchdown passes. Again, he had 2 against the Jets. He only had 1 against the Giants, but he had 3 against Washington. I already detailed Baltimore's pass defense, 22 passing touchdowns allowed, 18 in the last 6 games. The quarterbacks against Baltimore since week 3, Dak, 2 touchdowns, Josh Allen, 0. They only scored 10 points. Burrow, 5, Jaden Daniels, 2, Baker Mayfield, 3, Jameis Winston, 3, Bo Nix, 0, Joe Burrow, 4. Burrow has 9 touchdown passes against these guys. So you're 6-2 with over 2.5 touchdown passes on any quarterback you play against Baltimore. So I like Russell Wilson. He's getting up there in age, but if the Steelers are going to win,
Russ is balling, man. I love watching Russ right now.
Yeah,
he's good.
Cooking.
He's another dynamic to that Pittsburgh offense.
Another guy who wanted to go to the Giants in the offseason, but our brilliant GM said, no, you can't compete for the starting job. You can compete for the backup. Good one,
Daniel
Joey Shane.
Jones,
Good one.
Daniel Jones. All right, Alpha.
Yeah, you can have Gettleman back if you want.
Yeah, no thanks.
No thanks. No thanks.
Second
Alpha.
one,
Yeah, go ahead, pal.
Kareem the Dream Hunt to find the end zone at -115. I think he will find the end zone at least once. There's not much I have to say about this one, but when they get close to the red zone, they have been running the ball a lot, and I do anticipate Kareem to be able to find the end zone at least once in the Chiefs-Bills game.
Love it. Love it. My final prop of the Sunday slate will be Goff over 1.5 touchdown passes. Yes, we're about to see a huge bounce-back performance from Goff against the Jags. Jacksonville gives up 261 yards per game through the air, one of the worst in the NFL. We all know the catastrophe Goff was a part of just a few nights ago. He was just abysmal, awful, atrocious, whatever you want to say.
A winner.
But for him to run it up and gain his confidence throwing the ball back. And I think Campbell dials up a bunch of pass plays in the red zone in order to do so. He's a pure players coach, a true players coach, and Goff will reap the benefits of Dan Campbell's play calling on Sunday. Matt, your last player prop for Sunday, brother.
Yeah, interesting. Alpha had George Pickens to score a touchdown. I have Russell Wilson to throw over 1.5 touchdowns. You have Goff over 1.5 touchdowns, and I hope one of those goes to Amon-Ra St. Brown because that's my favorite prop. He scored touchdowns in 7 straight games, one in each game. All 7 teams that he's faced in those, all 7 touchdowns came against teams that have allowed double-digit touchdown passes this season, which the Jaguars have. 19 touchdown passes allowed, only Tampa Bay 20, Houston 21, and our old buddies, the Ravens, 22, have given up more. So, it's a little bit scary because this is going to be a blowout, and Amon-Ra probably doesn't play much in the second half. So you just hope he gets it early. But 7 straight, I know it's tough to get touchdowns in 8 straight games, but he's -110 or whatever he is for a reason. He should get one of them.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alpha. Final.
Amari Cooper, anytime touchdown, +170. If you watch this show, I take this quite frequently. He has not gone in the last couple of weeks, but when he has gone, he has scored touchdowns. So we haven't lost any money on betting this. We've only won money, and I think we're going to get it again. I'm not going to say that. We're going to go over that game, so I'll keep that for the Bills-Chiefs game. But I do love it. I do love that Amari Cooper, anytime touchdown, +170.
Love it. Love it. There are your props for the Week 11 slate. We're going to go back and cap the best game on the slate. And David, that's a great segue, man. Since 2020, Bills played Chiefs 7 times, just 2 in Buffalo. Chiefs have won both games in Buffalo. So let's head on over to the Chiefs-Buffalo game. We've got 74% on the over at 46.5. We got 79% on the Chiefs at +2.5. But I think you guys are both going against the grain here. Matt, who are you liking in the Bills-Chiefs game?
Yeah, and thank God this is the matchup it's supposed to be, because once again, the NFL, one of my biggest pet peeves, 7 morning games and 3 for West Coast and 3 in the afternoon. Come on, guys. Achievement at Christmas.
Let's be better, honestly.
I'm concerned about the Bill. I'm taking the Bills -2, but I'm concerned about the injuries. You mentioned Amari Cooper. He looks like he practiced limited yesterday.
Yes.
Keon Coleman's out, other wide receiver. Dalton Kincaid didn't practice. He's got an ankle injury. They got a linebacker, Milano, who's hurt. Offensive lineman is hurt. Kansas City, on their hand, is healthy, other than Juju Smith-Schuster might miss his 5th straight game. I saw Isaiah Pacheco was designated to return from IR. I don't know if he's going to play.
Not this week. It said at least another week.
Yeah, so I mentioned it a little bit ago when I talked about Mahomes' interceptions, the regular season, postseason discrepancies between these teams. Buffalo with Josh Allen is 3-1 straight up against the spread versus Mahomes and the Chiefs in the regular season. He lost his first game 3-0 since 2021. He's 0-3 straight up against the spread against Mahomes and the Chiefs in the playoffs. The last 4 meetings are decided by 3 points. Those last year's playoff game, 3, 4, 6, which is the overtime game in the playoffs, that wild game. The point spreads in the last 7 Allen Mahomes matchups: 4.5, 3, 2.5, 2.5, 2, 1, 2.5. Kansas City favored 6 times. So again, it's expected to be a close game. We talked about Kansas City; they've been teetering for weeks now. Could have lost the Buccaneers. Should have lost that game to Denver earlier in the season. They could have lost some games, and a lot is going to be made about Kansas City is insane as an underdog. 18-6 straight up, 19-4-1 against the spread. Mahomes is an underdog, 12-1-1 against the spread. Well, what's Mahomes' 1 loss, and what is one of those 6 losses Kansas City has in the 24 games as an underdog? To the Bills in Kansas City in 2022. Mm-hmm. So if the Bills can field a healthy team, I like them in this spot. I will say Kansas City has played a bit of a tougher schedule. The Bills really another team that has beaten I think you can say that about the freaking entire anybody that's got a record over 500 hasn't beaten anybody because it's like Alpha said, it's haves and have-nots. But this is a put up or shut up game for Buffalo. They have to get revenge for last year. They have to prove that they can be a champion and do it at home. And so I like Buffalo at under a field goal in this contest. But I wouldn't be shocked if Kansas City wins. Not at all.
No, I don't think you can be shocked with KC pulling out a win ever.
Yep.
Alpha, who you like in here?
I'm not messing with the points. Give me the Bills on the money line. The Bills should be able to get it done this week. And kind of like what you said, Matt, this is such a bigger game for the Bills than it is for the Chiefs. This is a must-win game for the Bills to prove to themselves, prove to the NFL that they can hang with a team like the Chiefs that continuously just ends their season. And this is the year that I think they have a legitimate shot to do so. I know the Chiefs are a big defensive powerhouse, but Josh Allen has done a great job this year at limiting turnovers, 7 touchdowns on the year to only 4 interceptions. While on the other side, Mahomes has 12 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. The running game definitely favors the Bills as well. So I think we'll see a couple defensive turnovers forced by this Buffalo Bills defense. I think they do win this game. Not sure by how many points, but give me the money line. Definitely a play I absolutely love this week.
I think you guys are absolutely crazy, man. Do you guys know who's the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yep.
I think so.
Do they ever lose? Does
Todd
Blackman
lose?
Chad Henne?
Todd Blackman?
Oh my goodness, man! You guys are going against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I'm not going to do it. I just can't. I can't put my money against Patrick Mahomes. Right away, I feel like if you get more than 1 point in a game like the Chiefs-Bills, you almost have to take the underdog anyway. To me, this will be a close game. It's going to come down to the wire. We all know it. To have those extra points in your back pocket, that could probably mean the difference between winning and losing. Mahomes is 12-1-1 in his career against the spread as an underdog. If you back a favorite against Mahomes, you're almost always going to lose. Clearly, I do not make the rules. It's just, what the case is. Remember, the Chiefs are underdogs in all 3 of their playoff games last year. I don't know what it is, but Andy Reid and company continue to show up when bet against and under the brightest of lights. We all know what happened last year in the playoffs. Buffalo is 1-4 against the spread versus the Chiefs over their last 5. I just can't go anywhere else but the Chiefs. David also said it, man, that the injuries at the receiving corps is scary as well. We don't know if Amari should go. We'll see. Like I said, man, I just can't go anywhere else but the Chiefs in this one. Give me KC in the points. That defense will do just enough to stop Allen and the Bills defense, or the Bills offense, rather. I think people are just crazy if they look at Mahomes right in his eyes and say, I'm betting against you.
If this was after New Year's Eve, I'd be right there with you, Dustin. If it was a postseason game, there's no question about it. I just think this is a regular season spot. I think
Could not agree more.
Could not agree more.
Is Mahomes not Josh Allen's daddy right now? Has he not been his daddy?
Well, we'll find out next week when we come back.
Won 3 straight regular season games against Mahomes, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's true as well, but we will. I mean, it's so scary to see Josh Allen.
It is.
And look what the Bills did against Baltimore. They absolutely crapped the bed against the one good team they played, so I totally get it. Yeah.
Yep, and like you said, I mean, yes, Allen usually sometimes gets the better of Mahomes, but in the playoffs, it's a whole different story. But I just think this is a playoff type atmosphere for both of them.
David brought up a good point. David brought up a really good point.
Yeah, I think this is a game I stay away from, enjoy watching it with no skin.
Nothing wrong with
the game of the week. It is the game of the week.
Yeah,
but
100%, nothing wrong with that at all. There's some games that are very tough to cap. I'm not going to lie and say this was the easiest game on the weekend to pick a team.
Watch the first couple series, see how it goes, and jump in game if you want to do that.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Live performance. I mean, yeah, I don't know. The whole game is just going to be scary. I just know for a fact it's coming down to the wire. It's going to come down to that final drive, whoever has the ball last, and just sit there.
And guess who's woken up since DeAndre Hopkins got there? Travis Kelce.
Yes, yes. About time.
That offense is back. The defense has always been there. I don't know. I think the gap is too large matchup-wise.
I don't know if they're back. They scored 16 last week. That's not
Denver's defense is pretty damn good. We got to give them their flowers.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah. All right. We've done the capping. We've got the Oddspedia game of the week in our back pocket. We've got the primetime games done and in our back pocket. Let's head on over to the fantasy side, the fantasy segment of this show, where we give out our best stardom, our best sit-ems of the week, guys. I'll start it. I love this stardom this week. Ricky Pearsall of the San Francisco 49ers. What an incredible story is for this Niners offense. Of course, we know he was shot during a robbery. He's just now getting back into the swing of things. In a half-point PPR league, Pearsall has scored 9.7 points and then 16.3 points. He looks to be a bigger part of this offense than I previously thought, personally. With Kittle nursing a hamstring, look for Pearsall to give the bulk of the work in the slot and in the middle of the field against what could be another high-scoring game against Seattle. I love this play. I love this guy too, man. He's fun to watch. He's got more explosion than I thought he did. But yeah, I think he took one for like 30, 40 yards last week for a touchdown. Get him in your lineups. Get him in your flex spot if you need one. He's gonna score a touchdown for you this week. Matt, your start of the week.
So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I had this guy recommended sitting him two times, the last 2 times I was on the show, and it worked out. Now I'm saying start him, and that's Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's facing a really bad Saints run defense, 141 rushing yards per game, 27th in the NFL, 5.15 yards per carry, 31st in the NFL, 14 rushing touchdowns, tied for 29th in the NFL. Chubb's in his first 3 games back, he faced a Cincinnati team that's 17th in rushing yards, and then they faced Baltimore, number 1, and then the Chargers, who are number 9 in rushing yards, and they've only given up 3 rushing TDs all season. So it's not surprised he struggled in those 3 games. The first game against the Bengals, he did score a touchdown, but he only scored 22 yards. He only had 22 yards, and he hasn't scored since. So I think he's getting his footing under him. I believe he's coming off a week off. I think so he's got a bye week. It's another reason. So I like to start Nick Chubb. He should get you some points this week.
Alpha, start of the week.
David Njoku. We're staying on the same team here. We're attacking that Saints defense, and David Njoku is who I'm going to be playing at tight end this week. We all saw what he did the previous 2 weeks before last week. So 3 weeks ago and 2 weeks ago, he put up about 15 points per game. Last week, he only put up a 4-burger. It was very disappointing, but there is a reason I am putting him in at tight end. So when we get to the sit, you'll understand why.
Let's head on over to the sit-ins, man. And usually this guy, Chase Brown, is one of those guys that I've had in my stardoms this week. I think I've talked about him 3 or 4 times on this show, but he's just going against a monster of a defense and a team in the Chargers. LA's the 9th best rushing defense in the NFL. Scoring is going to be hard to come by against these guys. Chargers also allow the 2nd fewest non-PPR points to running backs this season. I'm usually all for Brown, but I'm keeping him on my bench this week. And don't forget that T. Higgins is back. They've got another weapon in that receiving core.
Yep.
Staple Chase Brown to your bench this week. Trust me, it will be worth it. Matt, sit of the week, brother.
Jaden Reed, Packers wide receiver. Chicago's allowing, he's going to Chicago this week. The Bears are allowing NFL low 6 touchdown passes on the season, 7th in pass defense, 190 yards per game, 2nd best quarterback rating against opponents, 77.4. The Bears have shut down already wide receivers Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 catches, 34 yards, no touchdowns. Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas of the Jaguars each had 3 catches, 39 and 27 yards. Stephon Diggs, 4 for 34. And Ridley, 3 for 50. DeAndre Hopkins, back when he was at Tennessee, 1 for 8. Not one of those guys scored a touchdown. And then obviously you look at Jaden Reed, 6 of 9 games with 4 receptions or fewer. He's only got 4 touchdowns in the season. One of those was rushing. So I'd sit him on the bench. He did have a great game against the Bears and in Green Bay last year, but 2 catches for 48 yards.
Alpha, sit of the week, brother.
Going with another tight end. I'm starting at tight end. I'm sitting at tight end. And the one we're sitting is Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta has not practiced this week. I just got the report in from today's practice as well. He was a complete no-go, not doing side field work, not doing anything. So for him not being able to play so far, I do think he will be out. If he does go, it's going to be in a very limited capacity. They do have a pretty deep tight end room, and I don't think he'll be utilized heavily. So I am going to be sitting Sam Laporta due to injury concerns and starting David Njoku in his place.
Good for Amon-Ra.
Yeah, yep, good for Amon-Ra and me, because that's my fantasy first pick, Amon-Ra. So let's go.
Let's go. Let's have a week in fantasy. Let's have a week in betting. That just about does it for us for week 11. We've got around 400 people in here, just over 400 people in here. We appreciate you guys tuning in. David, thanks for sticking with us, talking with us, showing love. As always, we'll be back week 12, same time, same place. Remember, if you tail us or fade us, just remember we always love you. Sign up for the NFL Capper contest over at Oddspedia for free. Have your chance to win some money. If you need help finding what to do, head on over to Oddspedia US Twitter or X. More information is in our pinned tweet. Let's have a damn week. Have a good Thursday. We'll see you next Thursday.
Peace.
Peace. Let's go Giants. Even though we're on a